I will teach you about surface modeling in Fusion 360, how to create an extrusion and use a circular pattern to apply it to an object, how to create more complicated geometric shapes and emboss that on an object, and even more complicated things like how to apply text and art and SVGs to an object with a particular focus on 3D printing. All right, let's get started. We're going to make the first one, which is just a simple ridge that is circular pattern around our object. So again, this is for the fidget spinner tutorial. This is part 2, but this is applicable to any 3D model. So you can learn something even if you're not working on the spinner. First step, I'm going to go open my existing sketches. I'm going to turn on sketch 1. I'm going to rotate my view so I can see it. And I'm going to right click on the sketch and then select edit sketch. Now I want to make this ridge 1 millimeter away from this. Now I could draw a circle. Notice that this circle is 59 millimeters in diameter. So I could make one that's 61, which is just fine. Just to show you another tool though, I'm going to hit key letter O for offset. I'm going to click this outer ring. It automatically enters a distance of 1, and there you go. Now I have an outer ring offset by a distance of 1. I added 1 to the radius. Now, L for line. I'm going to click this dot, go straight across, boom. I'm going to do the same thing down here, straight across, boom. Finish sketch, there you go. All right, now here's our ridge. We are going to extrude this symmetrically. E for extrude, I click the ridge. I'm going to come over here to extent type. I'm going to change it, to direction. I'm going to hit symmetric. And I'm going to dial in number 1. Enter. So now we've made the ridge. And that doesn't look very good yet, so let's clean this up a little bit. I'm going to hit key letter F for fillet. I'm going to click this edge, dial in 1. That looks better. This is a little janky looking here, but when you 3D print it, I promise it comes out looking better. I'm going to leave that and click OK. Now, oh, by the way, just to show you the extrusion, I'm going to go back and edit the feature. So again, I'm going down to my timeline down here, right click and edit feature. When you did it, make sure operation was set to new body. You'll see why in a second. So operation was not joined. It was set to new body on my extrusion. Now we're going to create a circular pattern with this. Create pattern, circular pattern. Click the ridge we just created. I'm going to go over here and select axis and my origin turned on. If it didn't, you can flip it on here. So I turn my origin on. I'm going to go about this blue axis and I want my quantity. You can pick it. 20 I think looked pretty good. Then click OK. Quick note about the circular pattern that I didn't explain. Make sure when you're doing your circular pattern, that object type is set to bodies. It might be set to faces or features, but make sure it's set to bodies, and then you click the ridge again, and then it should work. And we're actually almost done. So we're going to go to bodies, and look, these bodies are not fused with our parent body. So we're going to do this a quick way. I'm going to turn off the inner ring, turn off the middle ring. I'm going to left click and select over like that. Now I've got all those bodies selected. Click combine. Open up your combine tab, select OK. Boom. There you go. Turn on the inner ring, middle ring. This is ready to print. How simple is that? All right, next one. All right, now time to apply text to an irregular surface, a non-flat surface. So you're going to be using the emboss command. And in order to use the emboss command, you need a surface tangential to the object you're applying it to. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's start like this. So if I hit construct and select tangent plane, and I want to make a tangent plane to this surface, it's not going to work because the surface is too irregular. If it were a regular sphere or a cylinder, it would work, but because my geometry is modified a bit, it won't work. So what I need to do, turn on my origin plane, then I'm going to go to construct and then select offset plane. Click this plane here, really doesn't matter. I'm going to pull this over here like this, And I just want to make sure it's outside of the object I'm applying it to. So you see how this plane is, just to the outside of our object? That works. So 30 millimeters is just fine. Now, we're going to sketch on this surface. So I'm going to click Create Sketch, click the surface, and I don't want to use this orientation, so I'm going to rotate myself. And now I want to make sure like my text is centered on here. So I'm going to hit P for project. I'm going to click the top line and the bottom line, then select OK. So I projected the top and bottom lines. I'm going to go X for construction, L for line. I'm actually going to come further out from this. I'll explain why in a moment. By 10 millimeters up here. And then L for line. I'm going to go down here too. You don't have to make it construction, by the way. I just think it's good practice. I turned on construction using X. I make another line, 10 millimeters. Select OK. Now, I'm going to use these as guidelines to create my embossing text. I'm going to go to Create, scroll down to Text. I'm going to select and click this corner, boom. And I'm going to click the other right corner. And now I'm going to change it to what I used in the tutorial, Thinker Ring Z, because I'm a bit of a Dragon Ball nerd. Now, some important settings I think that'll make your life easier. Make sure my alignment by default is usually a left-left. I don't like that. I set it center and middle. Just makes it easier to line things up, in my opinion. You can change your height accordingly to whatever you think will fit. 9 looks pretty good. 6 is too small. Again, this is all personal preference. 9. And then now, of course, you can select whichever font you use here. I downloaded this font for free offline called Saiyan Sans. It's pretty perfect. All right, now I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to click Finish Sketch. Now, it's time to apply the text to the surface. So we are going to select Create. And I'm going to scroll down to Emboss. Now I click that text first. The profile which I wish to emboss. Now I'm going to come over here and select the face with which I want to emboss it to. And I'm going to click the surface and boom, there it is. Now, super important point for 3D printing. I recommend you give it a depth no greater than 0.6. This is minimal enough to the point where you don't have to worry about overhangs. Then I'm going to click OK. So with the depth of 0.6 millimeters, this is small enough to the point where you could just print it like this. And even though it has a little bit of an overhang, it should come out pretty clean. You can bring it in further if you want. But again, this gives it just enough extrusion so that it has a pop. But you don't have to print any supports to get underneath the letters. Now, we want to put this on the other side too. So we're going to go to Create, our old friend Circular Pattern. So Pattern, Circular Pattern. Now, this gets back to what I was saying earlier. If it was set to bodies, I can't select the text because that text is not a body, it's a feature. So I'm going to go up to Object Type, change it to Features, click the text. It might have a little bit of a difficulty selecting the text. Click the text, and then I'm going to go over here, select the axis, click the blue axis, and boom, there you go, done. Now, you might have issues with some particular fonts, especially ones you find online. You might pick a weird font and it might not emboss. You're just going to have to pick a different font for that. All right, last one. Time to make this pattern. Save the best for last. So how do we do this? All right, so we're going to use a lot of the tricks I covered in the last one. We're going to use emboss. And in case somebody skipped to this section, I want to just cover this detail again. So when we emboss a sketch on a surface, we first have to have a flat surface tangential to that surface. So what I'm going to do is go up to Construct, select Offset Plane, and I'm going to go click this plane here, and I'm going to go 30 millimeters away from that, which just puts me outside of my ring surface. All right, I'm going to snap to a top view. Now, you're going to click Create Sketch, click that surface. Now it's time to start drawing our rings. So we're going to hit L for line, X to turn on construction. I'm going to click up here, but I can't click up here because we're sketching on the plane, right? It doesn't understand that this plane doesn't understand that this object behind it exists. So you have to hit key letter P for project. I'm going to project the top line and the bottom line, then click OK. And now we can draw that line. L for line. Click here, come straight down, type in 5, enter. And again, notice I have a construction line. You could change it after the fact too. I could click this line and then click it there to make it a construction or not a construction. Again, doesn't really matter here. It's just a better practice. Okay, create. And then we're going to go down to polygon. Create polygon. We're going to select edge polygon. And I'm going to click here. But make sure construction is turned off. I'm going to click here and come up by 2.5. Then I'm just going to left click. I'm going to drag over here to the right and drop it there. Okay, let's do that again. But we're going to put it 0.5 millimeters away. L for line, X for construction. I'm going to click this little edge here, come straight down, type in 0.5, enter, and I'm going to draw another one of these hexagons. Create, polygon, edge polygon. Hit X to turn off construction. Click, drag down, 2.5, straight down, pull my mouse, left click, actually should, okay, make sure it snaps to 90, left click, pull my mouse to the right, click, or hit enter. Now, one more time. X for construction. By the way, I hit escape to stop drawing those polygons. X for construction. Make sure it's on. See, it's on. L for line. Click this corner, come straight down, type in 0.5, hit enter. And we do this again. Create. Polygon, edge polygon, X to inactivate construction. Click yaw, come straight down, 2.05. I can hit enter this time too, and then drag to the right, hit enter again. Not too bad. And by the way, this will be equidistant. I've checked. All right, finished sketch. Now, we've got our nice little polygons. Yay, little polygons. Let's put these little polygons on our surface. So we're going to click Create. We are going to select Emboss. I got completely lost there for a second. I'm going to click this face, this face, this face. The sketch profiles have been selected. Now we're going to go over here and select Face. I'm going to click my face. And then now they're on the face. But I don't want them to be outies. I want them to be innies. So I'm going to change this to deboss. Now I'm debossing it. And again, I like this distance of 0.6 millimeters. It's actually, you have a little bit more wiggle room on this because it's an innie, not an outie, but we're just going to stick with this. It's a nice distance. So a depth of negative 0.6 millimeters. Then click OK. And it's going to take a moment to compute it. And there we go. Now, this looks okay, but let's make it look a little bit better. So we're going to chamfer these guys. So we're going to select Modify, Chamfer. And then we're going to select this face, this face, this face, and we're going to chamfer it the same depth that we used, 0.6. And now, look at that. Boom skis. That's pretty. But we want to make it prettier. We're going to surround our ring with these things. So we're going to go to Create, Pattern. Maybe you guessed it's going to be Circular Pattern. And I'm going to click these face. Notice this face, it automatically selects this group of faces. And then this edge automatically selects that group of edges. Make sure your object type is set to features because this is not a body. It is a feature on a body. We're going to select axis. And then I'm going to select this blue axis here. Now I already got it set to an ideal amount, and that quantity you need is 40. Then this might take a second to compute, so give your computer a moment. Then we're going to click OK. And hopefully it computes without failing. Do. Yay! You can probably hear my computer fan kicking up in the background. Hopefully that's not too distracting. All right, now we're basically done. But one thing I didn't do the other times, which we should do to make this look a little bit better, it actually really helps. We're going to hit key letter F for fillet. I'm going to fillet just the edges, not the surfaces. So I'm going to click this edge, that ring, that ring, that ring. Again, I'm selecting the edges, not the faces. I'll do the same thing on the bottom. Ooh, that's making me go buggy. All right, I'm going to click that edge, that edge, that edge. Boom, boom, boom. So I got all. Notice how it says 12 edges are selected. Now I'm going to type in number 1. And then there you go. Now it will be in its nicest form. And there's ways to print it in 2 tones, which you can do on your printer. If you all want more help on how to do this on your printer, any other things, I can make a short about it. That is no problem. Please leave a comment and help blow this channel up. That would be great. What else can I say? Well, that's about it. Again, hope you really found this helpful. The next tutorial will be how to make the Nerf turret. Take care.